Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Team Fortress TV for our ETF2L Season 39 awards show. My name is Lucky, and I'll be your host for tonight's festivities. And I'm joined by the wonderful TF2 personalities you can see on the screen. And we're just going to go through everyone one at a time real quick. So my apparent co-host and everyone's Team Fortress 2 most treasured Dane, Beta, is with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to wrap up the season and start getting on with another one. And I have left all of the responsibilities to you, and I'm just going to step in with some neat stats facts. That's going to be my role for tonight. Self-appointed. But I can't wait to do it.
We're also joined by the ever-watchful Chadmin himself, Sodium.
How are you doing?
Joined by the Caster main Pastor Brain Wandom as well on the cam.
Hello.
And then hidden in the background, we've got Giga Chad Pappy.
Hi, hello.
And Giga Brain Eames as well, joining us for this evening.
Hello.
So I'm just going to run it down real quick for those of you that don't tend to know what happens with this stream. The public have voted on ETF2L as to the various different categories as to how they think people performed throughout the season. And we announced who everyone's favourites were through the season. So to start us off, just a quick question. Basically going to start with Eames here because I think you have an interesting perspective on this. How do you think the season was as a whole with the teams that were put in Prem this time around?
Was as a whole. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's quite competitive, especially, we didn't have a great start to it, and we weren't sure if we were going to be making playoffs until like quite late on, and there's a lot of, the sort of, I guess the third, fourth, fifth, sixth teams all could have potentially made playoffs. Probably even the seventh place team could have, in fact. So yeah, it was quite competitive at the lower end of Prem, which was it was a pretty good season. Yeah, good times. Although it was obviously sad when one team folds, but that does tend to happen every single season. So, but yeah, generally the level of competition was fairly high.
Yeah, I did think the same thing actually. Like going into the season, there were a few teams where we thought it was going to be a bottom four, top four split again with Pappy's team of Four Toast. Not going to say Ascent, where they were just going to sit at the top of the leaderboard the entire time. But I thought that Aura as well maintained that very not like dark horse almost in the season where it looked like you guys could actually maybe take it because you were playing so well in a few games. But leaning on that as well, Pappy, are there any players throughout the season? Everyone wants to get your perspective clearly, Prem winner and everyone's favourite soldier main. Are there any players that come to mind that you think were like, stand out-ish?
Do you mean like new players or just anyone?
Yeah, anyone. Anyone that you thought was a real star of the season. First person that comes to mind.
No one. I don't know. I think Eames had a really good season.
So the shit talk begins.
No. I'm just. It's a long time since the season, so. Well, I think Eames played really well, and I think you lead your team well. Chris was really good, and he came back after a while. Trying to think, who were the other playoff teams? Frenchies. The American scout for Bood's team. He's good. What's he called?
KJ Quad.
Yeah. This guy is pretty good. And the other scout on that team, Classy, but it's not pronounced Classy. He's, I think, like up and coming, really good.
Yeah, he played pretty well through the season as well. Beta and Wan as well. I don't know how much you caught Wan, but did you guys enjoy the season from a perspective as Caster main? One of you.
It was a weird one because a lot of it didn't happen until the last 2 weeks because nobody can figure out how to schedule anymore. It's so weird. Like we had how many games in just the last 2 weeks because Nanya just decided they didn't want to play until week 7. Like we've had 38 successful seasons where people have been able to schedule reasonably well, and then we got to season 39 and everyone just gave up. It was like, we're just gonna play only the last 2 weeks. And it was really weird. There's like a lot of players that you just kind of saw a little bit because you only got to see them play like a single week. You never got that consistency throughout the season. But I don't know. I mean, Yeho was pretty good.
I think that was Condog's fault, by the way, the scheduling. Yeah. It was like Condog's team and I think Global Clan like just delayed some games for like 6 weeks or something. So
yeah, it was a very uneven season. But yeah, I think without saying the same thing, I'll say I think the story for me was just Or Electro picking up Yeehaw and then even Hugo in the playoffs. Like that just supercharged that team and they just rose to the top. It was really nice to see. I wasn't expecting Or Electro to do that well. I thought Global Clan was a pretty obvious unit. I even had a pretty good eye for, the bot bomb team, Mankey and Co. I thought those guys would be really good this season, and they were all right, but or Electro just stomped everyone that wasn't Fort Toast. Even stomped Fort Toast on occasion, so.
Oh yeah, big time. That was not a fun game.
Aura did kind of have, they had this weird player, he never really played for them before. He's called Captain or something. He played in week 8, and he was really, really good. It's upsetting we didn't get to see more from him.
Yeah, maybe we should see more of that Captain fella throughout the season, coming in season number 40. What was I going to say? We did actually, speaking of weird scheduling, we ended up watching, I think, every single team play in the last week of Prem. Like, every single matchup that we were going to have was going to happen in the last week of Prem. Because I can't remember how many games we had, but we had multiple streams on multiple days. But it ended up being hilarious either way. What's John by Sodium? What do you think of the season as a whole? Did you enjoy it? How much did you watch?
I watched more than I did for season 38, yeah, but was enjoyable. Watched some very enjoyable games. Good grand finals as well, so yeah, was good to see.
Yeah, it was good watching the grand finals as well for once, rather than casting it, which was actually quite nice for once. But we're going to throw it over now. We may as well get started on our categories, otherwise we're going to be here all night. So we're going to start off with Pocket Scout of the season. This Sodium, take it away.
Alright, so for Pocket Scout of the season we have 3 nominees, being KG Quad, Nevo, and Neo. Oh.
Opinions, anyone. Who voted what? Tell me now. If you're hedging your bets, then keep it to yourself.
Well, what I would say straight away is that honourable mention has to be Joe, who obviously, hasn't been nominated, but he was probably the carry for Nanya last season. Now, perhaps I'm biased, he's playing for me now, on Roma, in fact. But regardless, he had a very, very good first season of Prem. It was, to be fair, it was like a bit easy for him because Connor just tanked him the whole time. But he was kind of the standout player of that team and really had a very good debut, so that was quite impressive.
Yeah, I have some stat tip. He had the highest damage of any scout. He had 286 DPM on Scout, which is really impressive, especially for your first season. And then he also had like 25 and a half or and a quarter kills per 30 minutes. So Joe definitely came in with a splash.
Yeah, I was going to say, whenever we got to cast a game of Joe playing, he was always just slapping people around. It was disgusting. Pappy, are you going to say?
Yeah, no, I was going to say Joe was really good as well. I think it's his first or second Prem season. He's obviously got really good DM, and Conda gives him the AMS treatment. I thought they would do better in the season, though. I was kind of surprised they placed where they did. I really thought they would be playoffs, but I think maybe they struggled or in officials a little bit, or like didn't win the clutch moments, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they were a team that was winding up for a little while as well, I think. Through Division 1 coming into Prem, they kind of got the ball rolling quite a lot, especially in scrims and stuff. They looked like they were having good results.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree massively. Anyone got a take on these scouts? Anyone else?
I really liked the way KJ Quad played this season. Like, he was just so solid, and you could just tell he was just always on top of things and just always alive at the very end. But at the same time, he didn't do it by baiting his medic or something, right? Like, some people will just like go, oh, I can't die, I'm the scout, I have to carry and clean up all these kills. But KJ Quad just really impressed me the entire way through because I hadn't seen too much of him. I saw him last season and I have seen him play a bit in America as well, but to have that level of play on high ping is really impressive to me. So definitely a big shout out to him. Although I think I did vote for Neo because Neo just had a really solid season as well. It wasn't very flashy, but like Neo played really well as well. Those were the two I struggled with.
Yeah, I think Garda as a whole had a good season though as well. Like that game where they knocked, I can't remember which team it was, but they knocked a team who should have been, was it Nanya? I can't remember.
Either Nanya or Global Clan, I'm not sure.
It was Global Clan, yeah. I remember watching the game and everyone being like, whoa, they knocked Global, the Seeds is not in playoffs, what's going on? And yeah, that was really strange as well because they were also a new team. It was before it was Global Clan. They were having good results coming into the next season.
Yeah, the thing that I was surprised with was that team made playoffs last season, which I think most people would say was a more stacked season, if that makes sense. They made playoffs in like a harder season, then they upgraded their roster and did worse and potentially a less competitive season. So I don't really know. Or maybe this
shows.
season was better than people thought or something. Like
Yeah.
they picked up Seeds, who's considered to be the best med in TF2, and someone else who I can't remember. But who was the other guy they picked up? No, it wasn't Charlie or Matters, was it?
Flick didn't play, did he?
Oh, they
It was
had
a scout,
Mist,
was
and
it?
Mist
Yeah, Mist.
has played for Nerd Rage and big games and stuff like this. So that was surprising they didn't make playoffs. But yeah, sorry, that's a big sidetrack. These scouts, I think Nevo had a much better season than I expected. I think he improved a lot this season and is a much better player. And then obviously I'm really biased, and I think Neo was amazing and really good, and he was really fun to play with. And sometimes he just pops off and gets like a 4K or something. So
we did see a lot of that. So yeah, I think Nevo performed excellently this season. Actually, on Aura Electro, I got to watch Nevo. I was on his POV quite a lot, and he did slap some people around. But then Neo on Toast was a bit like, I don't know. Coming into the start of the season, I didn't know how good Credit was going to be after not playing for a period of time. But Neo definitely picked up the slack throughout the season. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what everyone does for the next season as well. But Sodium, who was our winners?
Right, you're running it down from the bottom. We're gonna start with Nevo coming in third, KJ Kuat taking second.
That's unfair.
Neo taking first place by actually a good margin.
I think Nevo's been done a bit dirty there. He had a really good season and
it was pretty,
really stable.
Reasonably close, to be fair, between them.
Oh Jesus!
Oh,
wow,
those percentages.
Can I just say, Arch, the transitions, whoa, on point, sir. Loving it. Forgot to mention, ladies and gentlemen, Arch was producing for this evening. I didn't put you in my intro, I'm sorry. But Neo taking that one away with 58% of the vote. That's quite a lot. Although, I mean, he was on, we talked about this before, it was like, on winning team, default pick, because if you don't know, then just pick whoever won.
True.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it's that big of a margin, because he wasn't that flashy throughout the entire season. He just played really well, He always, it was like you would look at the stats after the game and go, oh yeah, I guess he had a good game. Like it was that kind of a season he had. And usually people will pick like the flashy scouts. Yeah.
I think
no frag movies here.
What I would say about Nevo's season is, well, it was obviously his first season of Pocket Scout, but we had some pretty high moments. It took a little bit of getting used to with Trum and like how we're going to play that. But especially when we were already rolling stuff, we had a really good synergy. So yeah, it's probably a little bit harsh to put Nevo on third there, but no, he definitely had a good season.
Indeed. We will head over now to our next category of Flag Scout of the Season. Sodium.
Right, for Flag Scout of the Season, we have Credu, QB, and Yeehaw.
Once again, I'm just going to open it up to the floor.
Yeehaw should win this one. There's no doubt in my mind.
Why? Tell me
why. All right. So first of all, after he, just the impact after he joined Aura Electro was just so noticeable. And then also, he had the highest DPM of any flank scout. He had 259 DPM. And he had by far the most kills of any scout. He had 27.5 kills, which is more than Joe, to give you an idea. 2 kills more than Joe on scout per 30 minutes. So I just completely dominant season stats wise for Yeehaw. Just when you look at him play, he's just getting so many kills and being so active and doing so much. He's just a terror whenever he goes behind or it just enters a fight. So for me, there's just no doubt about it.
Eames, your perspective on this one?
That is true. He was a huge player for us. Really, turned our season around, especially at the start. The only thing I would say is that, he had a crazy game as we all did, kind of in the upper bracket final, but he was a little bit quiet in the grand final, which is worth saying. And of course, that's when it counts. So I expect he probably will win it, but it depends how you weigh it, but obviously his stats over the season were very, very good. But it's also about performing in the most high pressure moments. So there you
go. Yeah. I would basically just reiterate that. In the upper bracket final, like Ian said, I think he kind of just ran a train on us and got away with whatever he wanted. But then by the time the grand final came along, I actually do think he had like 3 pretty poor maps, to be honest, like for his normal standards. Like I think he bottom damaged a few maps and had low kills on a few. I think he had like okay stats on Snake, but like not his normal self. And yeah, it depends how you want to weight it. But yeah, I personally, I mean, I'm obviously biased. I'm gonna say my teammate, but I thought Credu had a really good grand final. I know, like week 1 we didn't play like well, and maybe people thought, oh, Credu's, whatever, not as good as he used to be. But I mean, people don't know the cons, and maybe I'm telling him to do stupid things and stuff like this. So.
Yeah, I don't think that when I was watching it as a viewer though, I was watching Credu and I remembered Credu like all the things that he did in the past, and I was like, oh yeah, but that was so long ago. How's it going to be? I had no expectation of Credu coming into the season, but I think he performed really well in the season. Actually, like in the first couple of weeks, you're right, it was a little bit shaky, but as things progressed, he did really well. So I'm happy, especially in the grand finals, he popped off. But honorable mention down there to QB as well. I was so unsure because I'd never really seen QB play a ton of Scout before. Obviously, he did in the season prior, but when he was playing Demo, I thought he was doing really well on Demo, but he popped off on Scout this season hard for 3.5 stars, I think.
Yeah, he pulled like a reverse alien, right?
Yeah.
The switch from one class to, like, the most explosive class there is to the hit scan class. And hey, turns out he has really good aim, and yeah, QB is kind of the flashy type of scout. He goes in and just does these huge 3-kill flanks, and just all of a sudden, there's a lot of people dead that weren't supposed to be there because QB just popped off. So that's the kind of player that QB is. It seems a little bit less solid than Yeehaw Credu, but very, very impressive season from him. I'm glad he got nominated.
Pappy, how did it feel playing against QB whenever we got the chance to? Honest opinion.
I think we matched up pretty well against the Frenchies, even in our periods where we were playing pretty bad and maybe not scrimming as much as we should be. But we did lose one map to them, I think, in playoffs, and it was Sunshine. And I think he had a good game. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely a good player, and to switch class and play top prem on another class is really impressive. So, it's something I definitely can't do. So you got to take a hat off to him. He can contend with the big scouts, so it's good.
The big ones. Wan, any perspective on these 3 scouts?
I mean, I voted Yeehaw. I just thought so I missed out on a lot of the first half of the season just because I was busy, and then I came back throughout the middle of the season. I just feel like Credu just didn't shine as much as Yeehaw did. I mean, every single time. I mean, obviously not the grand final, but again, the upper bracket final, he really did just completely clap full toast. Him and Chris, which I guess we'll get to in a second, just murdered them. And it's rare to see a combo or to see the flank hard carry in a game, but I think really the upper bracket final, they just dunked on them.
So, Sodium, who was our big breadwinner?
All right, we're going kind of down from the 3rd place again, which is QB. Followed by Credu. Yeehaw, winning flank scout of the season. Congratulations. And I don't want to start any conspiracies here, but he had the exact same amount as last season.
Whoa.
What?
Well, same votes? Same number of votes?
Exact same number of votes. He won with 177 last season as well.
Oh my god. It's just his bots that are voting for him. It's the same bot army.
If LAN happens again, Eames, you've got to get him an Oral Electro shirt with 177 on the back of it. That's,
yes.
that's
He's
a
a Witness Gaming player now, so
Oh, Witness Gaming.
True.
They're likely to have jerseys.
Yeah, that should be his number. 177.
177.
That's his DPM.
Okie dokie. Moving on. Pocket Scout. Oh, sorry, not Pocket. Pocket of the season.
All right, for Pocket of the season, we actually have 4 nominees, being Puppy, Food, Rons, and Ruff.
What? You didn't vote Pappy, you're in the bin. Anyone else?
I 100% agree with Lucky. I think this is one of those seasons where, I mean, the other 3 are good, but Rons and Bud, they're kind of newer to the scene. I feel like the impact that Pappy has on this team cannot be understated. And if he's not in serious contention for the best player in Europe, you're trolling.
Good
Yeah,
perspective.
I would say this one is very clearly Pappy. I think Pappy is not only doesn't only play the role, he also plays the main core role, which is very important, and leads his team very well. So, I think Bud and Raf do that quite fairly well for their teams. I think Raf is probably the only one that calls in the same way as Pappy, but Raf is a good caller for his team. Don't get me wrong, but he is not individually. He's not that skilled. Mostly, or he doesn't really work on his mechanics, so he plays that well for his team. But other than that, he has less of an impact. So yeah, clearly Pappy on this one.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that Poppy plays quite differently than basically everyone else. If you look at it, like Poppy, he gets a lot of heals, he does a lot of damage, he doesn't die a whole lot. Like, he dies significantly less than everyone else. He also gets quite a lot more heals than everyone else, and then he does the damage and gets the kills more than anyone else. So it's like a very different dynamic. It's been quite a while since we've seen like a heavy pocket soldier jumping around. Like, it's kind of funny, you know. I think he got like 22% heals or something, and that's heavy amount of heals these days.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is like on 18 or 14 or 17, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare the other three soldiers in the category, we've got Raph, Rons, and Bud, all of which are the very loose pocket style. That's what we refer to as the loose pocket style anyway, where we were questioning through the season, is Rons playing pocket? Or is he just roamer? Like, we had that, and then we saw him using escape plan rollout, and we're like, he's pocket, but then you can never tell through the game.
Also, if you look at his heal percentage, like, he's getting pocket heals compared to Asian. Oh, not Asian, sorry. To other people.
The loose pocket style, also known as the feed pocket style.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh, the
That's
flame!
the one
You can't flame your teammates, come on, man.
Anyway,
I was talking about all three.
Anyway,
Ref.
I think Rons did play well through the season, but I've got to talk about Bud as well down there. Like, I don't know what the expectation was for Garda coming into the season, but Bud and Mankey, I think those two in tandem were excellent soldiers through the season.
Yeah, I think they play like a team role. Like, they show up to a fight and they bomb. They kind of enable their scouts, but I think the strong point of the boot team is the scouts and the demo. If I'm completely honest, I think they're the biggest like asset they have. But the soldiers, they play like they do enable their team a lot. And yeah, no, I think it's true as well what you guys said about these other three play a more loose style, and I probably play closer. I think normally I
100%.
wouldn't or I think I've always played. Oh, not always. I think I used to play like these guys where I'd like really cuck my game and just say, do whatever for the team. But
Yeah.
I don't know. At some point, I just kind of wanted to, control things a bit more. And this season we had, I mean, I'm sure lots of people know, but Neo was French and our team comms in English. And as much as Neo speaks English, it's difficult for, his second language and stuff like this. So I played closer to try and, I don't know, so I could see more of what was going on, if that makes sense. So it was more of a conscious thing.
I mean, if you're playing more with the heals, you get a better perspective of the game as a whole as a main core as well, I think. Because you're playing like more.
I'm not sure you get as a whole a better perspective, but you get to see specifically what
What's going on.
Domo and Neo and Lucas are doing. So yeah.
All I was going to say was last closing remark I'm going to have is that Raph, Rons, and Bud all. Have you watched Mad Max? You know when they all spray paint their teeth silver and scream witness? That's kind of how I imagine their bombs. Anyway, so pocket of the season, Sodium.
Alright, coming in fourth is Ruff, followed by Boot. Ron's taking second, and Puppy winning it by a sizable margin.
How much?
Congratulations.
Very nice.
Congratulations, Mr. Papito.
Thank you.
203 votes.
Yeah.
But 67%.
I think it's kind of worth reiterating as well that not only like mechanically, individually, is Pappy the best pocket, he's also not hard main calling, I don't think, but he's doing a significant amount of the calling at the same time. So not only is he playing like probably as the best soldier in Prem right now, but he's also contributing a significant amount of his mental faculties to other areas. He's like doing two things at once, which is crazy.
Yeah, but I have brain problems. I have to do that. I literally can't not do that. If you see me play Roma, I'm main calling from the flank. So
yeah. Yep. Don't
We should
remind
mention
me,
that
please.
apart from all of those great qualities, he's actually really bad at the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, moving on to the next segment of Aroma of the Season. Sodium.
So for Rover of the Season, we have Thomas, Chris, and AZN.
So, anyone got a specific opinion about these individual players? Which one you think popped off the most?
Chris was crazy this season. I did
Yeah.
not expect him to be this good. I mean, because thinking back, the last time Chris properly played at the top of Prem was Nerd Rage like a while ago, like season 20 something. I don't remember.
No.
Like around season
The last
30,
time he
back when
played was
Cardinal
season
was a map.
30. He played
Yeah.
season 30 with Swift.
And he wasn't like
with me.
that insane, but this season he was.
Oh, he was good back then.
He was
Come on.
good, but he wasn't what he was this season.
No, I don't agree. I think he was very good this season, but back then he was really good as well. He was like one of the best players on that Swift team. Like, I'd consider myself one of by far the worst players on that team back then, and he was kind of carrying from the soldier perspective, and I wasn't that surprised he was this good when he came back. He's just mechanically really good, and he has a good understanding of the flank, and he doesn't play scared. Like, yeah, I think he dies quite a lot, but he pushes the flank a lot and causes a lot of problems. So
Yeah. His KD is crazy good. Like, he has
Yeah.
20 kills per 30
Yeah.
minutes. That's the most of
He's a
any soldier
beast.
by like 2. Like, he has
Yeah.
more than Poppy. Like, way more than Poppy. Which is
Yeah.
crazy when Poppy plays Poppy.
And what I would also say, he was very active on the flank. He was pretty much always doing stuff, so we would always have something to go off, more or less, which was nice. But it was always like, I didn't really have to think about him. You know, our flank, you and Chris would just be off doing stuff, and it would usually be good. And so we could just play a bit risky in the combo and, let that benefit us in different ways. So, but it was very much like just a weight off my mind. Oh, my flank is doing something, but it's almost certainly going to be good, so I can just ignore them, which was pretty nice. The only thing that sucks though is that he couldn't play the final. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate. Although I also do want to say I think Toe is unbelievably underrated on Roma. Like, I think our team this season had a few problems compared to past rosters, and I know he's my friend, but I was really surprised with how good Thomas was on Roma so quick. Like, he just picked up the role. He understood, like, I don't care if I die, I'm doing stuff for the team, and he has really good timings and stuff. And I don't know. He also had an insane grand final. I think he dropped the med loads, like on Spy or on Heavy or whatever he was doing. Like, I mean, yeah, and just to think this is his off class. This is just him. Like, I want to see if I can win Prem playing Roma because
Is there any difference
I'm
between
bored of
playing?
Scout.
Is there any difference between playing with him on Scout and Soldier?
Oh, massive, yeah. I mean, when he's combo Scout, I know people always kind of say that I mean cool, but I think the longer and longer our team has lasted, or like the cool group of players, it's kind of like me and Toe share the cooling, where maybe I will shout at people and say I don't want to play this way, but when it's in like a push, Toe is kind of saying what's going on. His Scout was also I think his Scout, he's probably the best player in Europe when he's playing Scout, unless maybe Captain or Tiger's playing or something like this. But his Soldier's really good, and yeah, I mean it's different because it's a different role, but yeah, no, this guy's just really, really good, and he offers a lot in comms, if that makes sense, like calms people down, and I don't know how to say, like makes the game pretty clear. If that makes sense.
Yeah. We also have the glorious return of AZN after having been accused of being Broder for a long time, and he actually did really well.
Yeah,
very good
he
results.
was a beast.
Yeah,
His
very good
sniper
off-classer.
on Viaduct,
Whew.
we scrimmed it once, and like, it's just one of these days you go onto your scrims at 20 or 21, whatever it is, and you're not really thinking too much. We play Viaduct against the Frenchies, and they'd like curb stomp us for the first 2 rounds. We're like, what is going on? They're like, what? This guy's hitting everything.
That's weird.
We only just managed to like win, or maybe we lost 3-2 or won 3-2. But then, yeah, I mean, he's just insane on sniper. Like, it's like, what? I don't know. I think Eames,
everyone
you
was
guys
watching
crushed
that
him,
as
right?
well.
When you had Captain playing, I think Eames crushed them, but his sniper was scary on Viaduct for sure.
Yeah, we did. We had a pretty good counterplay, to be honest. I mean, we had Chris and Captain going behind, and we had a very good coordination going behind points. We basically spawn camped them the whole map. But yes, it was still we would give him very, very few shots because we were playing it quite well. But still, he would just peek and drop the bed every time.
Yeah.
It was very impressive. And also, I mean, his aim on soldier is very, very. It was very good. It's very consistent. It's kind of he kind of plays a bit like he's playing a pug. And he still does what I'm playing with him this season. So it's kind of how I know. But he just makes sure in every situation he's hitting a decent rocket and.
Yeah, he needs patient actually. When I've watched him play, he won't shoot rockets that maybe other soldiers would shoot. He'll just wait, and when he knows he's going to hit 100, he hits 100. So
he's
has good aim.
Very good DM player, exactly.
Yeah,
I think it should probably go to Chris.
I was just going to say that Toe did kind of what QB did as well, where he swapped onto from Scout to Roma, and then it just seemed to kind of be like that natural progression almost, where Toe performed. I think he performed amicably. I think that everyone had their doubts. Hit scan player goes to projectile player in the season, and then they don't really know what to expect of it. But I think he played really well, and AZN also on the sniper. Everyone was watching it, being like, "This is sus. He just hit everything under the sun." So incredible stuff from him. Anyway, Sodium results.
All right. Coming in third is AZN, followed by Chris, and Thomas taking Roamer of the season. Congratulations.
Spank, there you go, Pappy, your boy.
Yeah, I mean, I would also be happy if Chris won. I've played with Chris for a long time, and he's a good friend, so I think he's a really good player. But I guess Toe was more well known because he's played the last few years, whereas Chris took a break. And
what is this?
That's quite a margin as well, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I am surprised it's that big.
That's necessary, but here we are.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I think Chris was really good this season, and
honorable mention.
If he continues to play, he will be amazing.
All right, moving on. Demoman of the season, Sodium.
All right, we're going back to 4 nominees for Demoman of the season, being Eames, Lucas, Deli, and Milky.
Milky. That guy, he hits many, many, many pipes. Beater, have you got any fun stats?
Yeah. Milky, when he aims at 100% of the screen and somehow still manages to hit people. I don't understand. It's very weird. But yeah, Eames top damage this season with 300 DPM, but it was very close. There was a lot of other Demomen that were very close. Darken was second with 299. So it wasn't by much.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the biggest surprise there is that Lucas is not even that close, but I guess he had a rough early season with his warping and stuff, so that's my pet theory as to what was going wrong there. It's very clearly better as the season progressed. But yeah, Eames had a very strong season.
Yeah, I think Eames had a really good season, and one of the reasons Aura was so good is because Eames is a really solid player, and I think sets his team up pretty well. And I mean, individually, he's very good.
Yeah,
and good aim and good traps, and annoying to play against. So.
Indeed, I think that I was watching the season, thinking in my mind, I was like, "Oh, Eames just has good main calls. He's a reliable Demoman, but he's not exactly DM donkey." That's my opinion at the start of the season. At the end of season 39, I'm like, "Holy crap, Eames hits pipes. This man just destroys people." So yeah, I've got to give you props, Eames. I underestimated you through the season, but I think you slapped real hard this season.
Thank you.
What did you think about other demos, though, from your perspective? Who was the hardest to play against?
Hardest to play against. It kind of depends. Probably, I would say I had 2 very bad maps in the season. Or actually, rather, I had 1 very bad map in the season in particular, which was against Lucas on in the regular season on Sunshine, where I played absolutely terribly. I got completely outplayed on mid. There was to be fair, I think you guys had map talked us and had a real good plan of what to do against us, but I was we were just getting outplayed by Lucas literally sticking the floor, and that is now the meta apparently on Sunshine. It's very silly, honestly. But
what do you mean sticking the floor?
Sticking the floor in front of Tetris is everyone apparently just does that now. It's quite good to be.
Can't you just not stand there?
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to run.
Pretty good counter
But then you're not
strategy.
standing there.
Go
kind of have to-
anywhere else on mid.
You kind of have to run around. Assuming both teams are going flowers, which they usually are.
I
You
just
kind
go
of have to.
right. I hate this. Like you have to go flower stuff. It's so dumb.
Or anyway,
like
I mean, that is the standard play, and it was quite effective. So probably Lucas, because he was good at outplaying me in that game. But that said, you know, it's good fun playing against all of the, like Deli, Milky, Dagger as well. It's very good fun playing against all of them because they have very good aim, and so they're always really, really testing me. And if I'm ever sort of slacking, then they'll probably punish me for it. But then again, I might punish them for probably bombing in too much. So it's a good fun to play against a lot of the demos in Prem at the moment.
yeah, actually that's a good point. I was gonna say I think the demos in Prem at the moment is the best demo pool we've had for a long time. I think these demos are. I mean, Deli's obviously been good for a long time, and Eames. I think like Milky's been really good. Like not even on this list. Dagger's new to Prem, and he's done all right in some games. But yeah, for me actually, I think the hardest is, or just on like a 1v1 thing. Like I notice Milky owns me more than like I jump him and he'll just skybox me twice, and you know you just gotta put your hand up and say, well, okay, whatever. Like
Get some
this guy's
respawning,
insane.
guys.
Yeah. But no, I do think the demo pool's really good, and yeah, I also think Lucas is really good, and it's unfortunate he has really bad internet, and I mean he has two internets and he swaps between them, and they just both don't work, and he just warps. And I'll see, like even in the final, I was like, Lucas, you're warping, you okay? And he's like, oh, it's fine, it's playable, and he's like just like lagging through the air and stuff. So.
You ever worried he's just gonna lag through a wall and that's it? He'll just
Oh
get
yeah,
pinged off.
he
Yeah.
has. There was some game we had to pause like 3 or 4 times for him because he just kept walking through walls. And that might have been against Jack, I'm not sure, but we also
Yeesh.
did just. I'm not trying to copium it up. They played better than us. But yeah, I mean,
that was a
Deli's a
surprise,
beast
wasn't
as
it,
well.
At the start of the season. Literally, round 1, we were like, "Bad,
Yeah.
I'll stop this game," and then it was a draw. We're like, "What just
Yeah.
happened?"
Yeah, that was. I mean, yeah, we just have to hold our hands up. They played better than us, and we got outplayed basically. We lost our med like a lot, and it was the stupid things, and
It was Granary.
it was.
Day, wasn't it?
I think the process, like on Granary, I don't mind losing my med because it's Granary, but on process we lost our med a lot, and I was confused. But it was probably the best thing that could have happened for us is this loss, because otherwise we maybe would have taken the season kind of easy and then lost. And also losing to Aura in upper bracket was also really good because, you know, then we had more motivation. As you know, nothing's going to motivate you like losing, so it definitely is good to lose.
True. Sodium, who was our winner?
All right. Coming in 4th was Deli, followed by Milky. Eames taking 2nd place, and Lucas taking 1st by a good margin. Congratulations.
No close votes so far.
Oh,
Yeah.
commiseration seems. I think you deserve that one, to be honest. No
I'm
offense,
just
Lucas.
happy at least Eames got
Thanks.
2nd. At least you didn't get the Nouveau treatment and come last. That'd be unfair.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's over double the vote for Lucas there with the 146 votes. There's 71 on Eames. Wowee! Bible thumps in chat, please, everyone. Moving on to the next category, we have Medic of the Season. Papi, who hit the most serfs this season? And Sodium, what are the nominees as well before we do that shit?
All right. So for Medic, we have 3 nominees again, being Trump, Patchouli, and Domo.
I mean, that's
Alright, Pappy,
crazy.
hit the most
Seeds. That's crazy. Seeds isn't even nominated. Like this
Yeah.
guy's considered the best med probably in the world. For me, hardest med to play against. I mean, the season was a while ago, so I've got to think of it, but I'm not sure. I mean, you never really get to kill. I know Seeds isn't on the list, but you never really get to kill Seeds because he's just in the a good position for his team. And I think when we played them on Gully, we beat them in the season like 3-2 or something. He had 0 deaths. Seeds, so it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
I
But,
have a fun stat for you about that. So, Seeds had 4.33 deaths per map or per 30 minutes this season, and number 2 closest to him was Patchouli was almost 8.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how little Seeds dies. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But then again, their team didn't make playoffs, so stats should always be taken with a pinch of salt. I'm not trying to say he's the
Agreed.
reason they didn't, but there's obviously something going wrong with the team there. But I mean, I obviously love playing with Domo. He's very sacrificial, and sometimes I'll tell him to do things that I know other medics would just say no. Like, there's no way I'm doing that. And yeah, I really enjoy playing with Domo.
A name that I heard a lot when I came back, like around the middle of the season, was a lot of people were saying that Jorge was playing really, really well. He's another guy that isn't nominated. And I'm like, where do you guys put him? Am I just like bad at TF2 analysis, or should Jorge be considered as well?
Well, I'm with Doey on this one. George is the best player in all of Prem, on all of Europe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jorge's like, he's a med player, and I don't think he's anything particularly special, but he plays med well, and he does juke better than other medics. I think Kondog actually is like a name maybe that could be added to this list. Like, actually, the meds in Prem are good this season as well. Like, it's actually, the standard's pretty good.
Kondog had the most deaths. Just fun info.
Yeah, well, that's not a surprise as Kondog.
Also most kills, obviously.
I think Kondog, yeah, like, if there's a scale of medics, it's like, on the far right, it's Kondog, which is like, just, run in, don't care, play for the team. And then on the far left, it's, I guess, Seeds, where it's like, he's playing to not die and always have Uber and stuff like that. And I think these 3 medics probably lie somewhere more towards the middle of that line. Actually, I've not played with Trum or Patchouli, so I don't know. But I would say Domo is somewhere in the middle of that line.
Speaking of which, Eames, you played with Trum. How was the season for you with him?
Yeah, Trum's absolute beast. It's really fun to play with. Yeah, I was quite impressed with how good his core mechanics are, I suppose. And most things he got very, very quickly, and you didn't really even have to say much to him to, he has a very good understanding of the game, and he knows also, he knows what his role is. He knows not to sort of calm too much or be involved too much, but when he does have to say stuff, like if it says a small Uber ad and maybe he noticed it and no one else did, and then he says it, and then you go off a 20 ad and you kill the med, and you're like super hype about it. So yeah, he was really fun to play with.
Is it his first season? Sorry,
it's his second, I think. He played last
that's
season
still
with
really
GCA.
impressive.
Yep.
He came like towards the bottom of Prem last season, didn't he? And then now
If he played with Global Clan, they made playoffs last season, so I don't think so.
Did he? Oh,
I think
I'm pretty sure
they have
made
George and then sub
I'm
Trum in
assuming,
or
yeah.
something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they had Doey or something. They had like George, Doey, and then Trum. I don't understand. Yeah, that team had like a lot of medics. So
flashbacks to the video. Anyway, Patchouli as well. Honorable mention there. He's been one of my most favorite medics actually. Like coming up. Anyway, not my top medic. I think Domo takes the cake for that this season with Connor close second, and then I would actually put Patch third because I think he's genuinely a good player. So yeah, I'm going to give him an honorable mention. I'm not sure how high he'll get in the voting, but we'll see. But Sodium with the stats.
Right, for Medic of the Season, we have Patchouli coming in third, Drum coming in second, and Domo taking away another award for Toast. Congratulations.
Noticing a trend here. But I am happy Domo won. I think he's, in my opinion, he's by far the best med. At least for the playstyle I want to play. But yeah, I'm really happy he won. I think he's really, really good.
Yeah, I think it's good when they... Sorry, go on, Bia.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how, like, the medics that I noticed the most this season were, like, Seeds and Jorge and Dobo. And 2 of them aren't even on the list. So it's kind of crazy like that. I didn't watch too much of the playoff, though, I will admit.
All right, so we are going to be moving on to Off-Classer of the Season, Sodium.
Right, Off-Classer of the Season. Only 2 nominees, 2 players going head-to-head here, being AZN and Thomas.
All right, if AZN doesn't win this, I'm going to eat something.
That's cap. I mean, if you go for like scrims and stuff, yeah, AZN is Off-Classer of the Season. Like, he made everyone in Prem lose their mind for like a week because of his sniper on Viaduct. But I think in terms of
consistency.
when it mattered, like Toes off-classing in the grand final won us like countless situations, whether it was Spy or Sniper or the heavy play that he did at the end of Snake. So I think if you're going off like matches, it's definitely Toe, but I think people probably factor in scrims, so maybe AZN will get it.
I definitely agree with that. I think, Toe's good at off-classing in terms of his raw ability, but more importantly, it's his timing. Like, even in the upper bracket final, I think we were 2-0 up on Snake, and we'd taken lobby with about 15 minutes left, and he instantly goes Spy and instantly drops Trum, and it's like, we thought we had momentum here, and I was sort of about to say, like, they might sack our med here or care for Spy, but I hadn't even quite thought of it yet, and then he'd already dropped Trum. So it's like the timing in terms of the context of the game Toe has is very, very impressive.
Yeah, he plays the fast watch. I don't know what it's called, but he plays the fast watch for Spy.
Invisiwatch.
Invisiwatch, yeah. So that's why I think that catches people off. Also, I think it's fair, to give Toe credit. He's not getting microed to do these plays. These are off his own timings. So, it's not like anyone else can take the credit. Whereas I think, I don't know, like with AZN, it's kind of just like his sniper, right? And it's like the team
on the flip
strategy,
side,
you play
he cheats,
sniper.
So
yeah, true, he does cheat. So.
I mean, I think Toe's just harnessing all that experience that he's claimed from playing Scout for so many seasons as well. Really bringing it all together. But Juan, have you got any opinions on these two?
Broda was good on Viaduct, and Thomas was good on maps that weren't Viaduct.
Yeah, also, actually, Thomas's Viaduct Sniper slaps as well. I'm not sure if we played it in an official, but his Viaduct Sniper is insanely good as well. So, like, we would put Toe on Sniper, not Credu. So, I think that also says how good Toe's Sniper is on Viaduct, but we didn't play it in the
there's been so little Sniper after the gunboats change. Like, people just bomb in soldiers now. It's so much harder for snipers on Viaduct.
I think it's still playable, but you need a really good understanding. Like, I think like I don't know how to say this. Like, maybe a more experienced team. So if you took like 7 or like an old ascent, like not me, like AMS or something, the AMS Cody one, or maybe Low Panda or Nerd Ridge or something. Like a team like this could probably play Sniper on Viaduct, and it would still be really good. But for teams who are slightly less coordinated, yeah, the gunboat change does actually make a pretty big difference for snipers.
Indeed. Sodium, who was our winner?
All right. Yeah, just straight into the number 2 here being AZN, and Thomas winning it. Congratulations.
Well, there you go.
Oh, PogChamp.
Continuing the trend.
Continuing the trend. Fort Toast gonna... You've got trophy cabinet sorted out? We should make some awards.
Yep.
180
French people.
Get them on, 99 Frenchies.
Slowly encroaching, the numbers getting higher and higher every single season. More Frenchies joining the fold. Anyway, moving on to our next category. This is one of our coveted favourites, actually. Debut of the season.
Yep.
So what we got?
No Fort Toast players in this one, so that's
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. We have AZN coming again for debut of the season as well. Joe or GGGGGGG. Varnu, Empty, Loopy, and Tiram.
So, all right, well, fun stat. Varnu had the most deaths of any scout, and Tiram had the most deaths of literally anyone, with 25 per 30 minutes. So Tiram just maximizing his time for drinking tea, basically, when he's in the respawn queue.
Does that match up with longest time in respawn queue then?
I would assume so, yeah.
Wow. What a gamer. Opinions, gentlemen?
Disregarding 3, I would say the top 3 would probably be Empty, then AZN, and Joe top. All of them were fairly impressive, to be honest. But Joe in particular, Joe would be top for me because, well, not only did he show good DM and this kind of thing, which AZN also did, but he was literally the key player in his whole team, basically more or less main calling. I don't know if he actually was main calling. I think it was Connor, but he was.
No, Joe was. I marked for them. It was Joe.
He was really main calling, so that's even more impressive, to be honest. Because that's a very hard thing to do in your first season of Prem and to do it so effectively. It's Yep, it's pretty cool.
I would say something similar, but is this really AZN's first season of Prem? There's no way, right? Did he really not play it back in the day?
No, that was Broda, different person.
I know, but didn't AZN play with Cadus? Was that just a preseason? Because I remember there's some story with like AZN played on the Cadus team, and then Cadus said, "Oh, he's not cheating, he's just good," and then he got banned for wallhack or something.
Yeah,
But
he was,
did he not play that season, or what's going on?
He was playing in the preseason, and then he got banned during the preseason.
He got banned in preseason. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if this is AZN's first season, he's a very good player. But I agree with Eames. I think Joe is. I merged for Conduct's team a few times, and I was surprised with how good Joe was. I mean, he definitely gets the treatment, that a lot of other players don't get. Like, I don't think there's any other player in Prem that gets as good treatment as Joe. Maybe Lucas or something, or maybe not Lucas this season, but Lucas in previous seasons. But
Yeah, Joe gets the most heals of any scout. He gets
definitely
27%.
It's not just the heals, but it's also the solo Ubers, and if the fight's looking shady, him and Condor are out. But he's mechanically, I think, as good as anyone on Scout.
He's the only patient on the ward, as it were, when it comes to medicing. Big shout out to Ampty. I think he performed well this season. But I've got to agree. I think Joe was just... Whoa. He was really kind of a standout performance, all in all. AZN, of course, the sniper here and there, but other than that, it was kind of, I don't know, almost backgroundy. Not really like standout player on the team, all in all, but I think Joe had a really strong season. Anyone else got anything to say about these remaining players that we've not talked about?
Have you mentioned Loopy yet? Like Loopy
I don't think anyone has said the name Loopy, no.
Alright, hereby done. I have more, probably. Like,
I think
Loopy is fine. Like,
scrim.
yeah, Loopy does pretty well overall. Like, he just looks solid and he just needs to improve, I think. Like, I'm excited to see where Loopy goes.
Yeah, fresh season, new to Prem. Let's see what he does in the future. I mean, not everyone can be as good as some people were in their first season. Cough, cough, Nubby. Anyone else to speak?
Yeah, that's true. Nubby has a crazy Prem record. I think he has, grand finals every season, and then he's won one of the grand finals as well, so that is...
It's a solid record.
That's not a bad record, yeah.
It's not actually that bad, no.
Yeah, I believe it is quite good. Some people would say good, yeah.
Yep.
Alright, Sodium, what's the stats?
Alright, so I'm gonna take it from 6th real quick. Farnu coming in 6th, followed by Tiram, followed by Loopy, 3rd AZN, 2nd Joe, and
No, that's
Wow.
taking in a very close vote. Ampty takes it. Congratulations.
Okay, I was not expecting that.
That's a bit unfair on Joe, but Ampty is good as well, so all full votes.
It's frag video
Well, that's
propaganda.
nothing. That's a slim margin right there.
We got a close vote.
That's
German
an
pod
easy
players
jump.
coming out. For
Yeah, true. I mean, MT is good as well. Like, we didn't talk about much, but he is very good.
Yeah.
Yes,
think
I
he's
like
very well.
MT's playstyle.
Yep, very, very nice. Moving on to the next category, caster of the season, Sodium.
Right, so forecast of the season, we have quite a few nominees, being Dumtum, Eeply, Dave, TurboTabs, Bum, Josh, Lucky, and Wan.
Opinions, gents.
My favorite was Josh because I like the really analytical casters, and Josh knows everything about the game, and he talks a ton of shit, and he's really funny. So I just immediately liked Josh. So I voted Josh, even though it's his first season and everything, but I just really like Josh.
Indeed, I only got to cast with Josh, I think, once, but the one cast I had with him, I was surprised at how good he was at handing off as well. Doing his analysis
Yeah, it's
and
super
then handing
smooth as
off
well.
Yeah,
It's so
really,
awesome.
really smooth. Really gives the space for you to just cut it. Likewise, you give him the space to talk, and he'll give you the space to talk, so I think he had really, really good season casting. Dumb, of course, does his usual thing and just casts. Bum and Eeply, excellent grand finals cast. Thought that was amazing. Big shout outs to Dave as well. I think he's a really solid caster. Wan as well, in the same boat, and Turbo as Turbo.
I
I
think,
think all the casts are good apart from like Wan and
yeah.
Lucky. They're dog shit, but the
Yeah.
rest are good.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Nah, I'm joking. I think the caster pool is really good. This I don't know. I don't want to just say season, but this like last part of European production has been really. There's a lot of different styles and people that bring different things to cast, and yeah, I think the talent is really really good at the moment.
I think I voted Bum. I think he has kind of the same sort of. I mean, obviously not to the same extent as Josh, where he's also really smart about the game. But I think he's just, in terms of like being, I guess, like an out of the box broadcast voice, he's better at delivering it than Josh is. I mean, don't get me
he's
wrong.
very
Josh's
technically
casts are
sound, right?
amazing,
Yeah.
but I don't think that type of casting is necessarily what you want as a finals cast. Like I think Bumfries has the right mix of like being really smart, being good at like being funny off the cuff as well. I think he has the right vibe. He's got a very good thing going on.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I think Bum is quite impressive at doing play-by-play, which is, I think, often the biggest problem I find with casts is that it can end up just sort of being a bit too negative. In that, instead of sort of highlighting what goes well in a push from one team, you talk about how one team messed up, and it can get a bit sort of. If you're listening to it back and you hear, "Oh, this team failed, this team messed up, this guy fed," it can be a bit, grating on the ears after a while. Whereas Bum is usually putting on that positive spin, I think, and there's just a very sort of engaging way of speaking about things. So yeah, I think Bum's good.
I think that's true as well. Like when people, especially I don't know the stats, but if newer players are watching games, they want to watch games and think the people that are playing are really good. So, like, I actually do think it's important to have a positive spin. Like a bit. I'm not trying to say like Josh is casting because obviously Josh is an
Vote
amazing
for
player.
the villain. Vote for Josh.
I like Josh's casting and I think it's good, but I think Bum is probably my favorite caster. He kind of reminds me of like Admirable or something, where it's like he knows a lot about the game, but he's also just kind of like funny and has his own style. If that makes sense.
I think as it is right now, I would rather have Josh on like an analyst desk rather than actually have him cast the game, right? I think at the moment the way that he casts, it's still like quite monologue-y. I think I do the same thing a little bit, but he's sort of more so like the tone just isn't that compared to what if I had to choose like what I'd want a caster to do. But he's way smarter about the game than I think anyone else on this list.
Yeah, I think that's part of the appeal as well, right? Like, he's a
Yeah.
bit more raw. He's not as professional as like Lucky or Bomb or Equally, right? Like you can just feel like he's not as experienced, and that's part of the appeal. It feels more raw and honest in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, he says exactly what he thinks, which I think is great, especially for like maybe like players and like I don't know how the divs work in like high and prem. I think they probably learn loads from watching a Josh cast because
I agree, yeah.
Absolutely.
he breaks down pushes in a really nice way and he explains when teams are at their power spike and stuff like this and when they need to play scared and when they should fake playing in a good position and stuff like this. So I think Josh is probably really nice for like aspiring players, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's definitely good for, especially the viewership we kind of have, because I think the viewership is kind of a lot of regulars as well. You know what I mean? Where we have players who are higher up in the divs, watching games, but then you've got the occasional person from low or open watching the games. I think Josh gives a really good analytical standpoint. I don't necessarily think it's only for the ears of higher tier players, though. I think he does break things down really well. So
yeah,
I've got to hand it off to him. But Sodium, who is our caster of the season?
So, running it down from last is Dave, followed by Wan, followed by Bum.
What?
Lucky.
Okay.
Epley. Sorry, I forgot Turbo there.
I was going to say Turbo
Lucky,
Tab's in
Epley.
the top 3, but no.
Yeah, that's no way.
Don't do my boy Turbo like that.
I know, he's
Turbo's a
good, but he
boss.
always gets really low.
Yeah.
So Epley coming in third, followed by Josh in second, followed by Dum Dum taking home caster of the season.
He
Congratulations.
cannot be defeated.
Nice.
The people's champ.
He's undefeatable.
He has a monopoly, guys.
That's
Yeah.
why I stopped trying. There's no point trying anymore, because you'll never win.
You're going to have to put me back on the list,
Beta,
Yeah, true.
let's just cast every game next season. we'll just
Just strong arm our way in.
yeah, we'll stream on your channel. We'll just take over. He'll be fine.
You need to ban him from casting. You need to ban Dunton from casting on TFTV. Then
Yeah, the thing is, if we ban
he can't
Dom,
win.
nothing will get done.
Yeah,
No,
I know.
because he
True.
organizes everything. It's
Yeah.
so-
The whole community will collapse if we ban Dom.
There's nothing we could do about it because he owns the owns the monopoly. But for real though, whenever I cast with Dumb, it's always a very professional cast. He does hand off very well, and I think that his banter has improved quite a lot as well. Because originally when I started casting with Dumb, I didn't know where the line was, but he is quite funny actually. When you can drag out of him. But moving into our very very last segment, moving on to best player of the season, Sodium.
Yeah, so best player of the season this year is reserved for English people only, being Puppy, Eames, and Yeehaw.
Yeah, so the question here is, what do you value? Like, what makes you the player of the season? Because I feel like it's kind of a different type of award when you're just going up against, like, you don't have to fit into a certain niche. This is like a big overall award. So I don't know, is main calling more important? Is DM, is impact on the team? Like, what are you guys valuing in this? I don't know. Let's see, Wandom. What are you thinking? What did you vote and why?
I think I ended up voting for Yeehaw, but I think if I'd have to do it now, I'd probably vote Pappy. Honestly, I said a lot about him earlier as well. I still think that's kind of true. But Yeehaw as well. I mean, I think Yeehaw is more of sort of like individually, I think he's shone the brightest this season. But sort of overall, I think Pappy is the most valuable player on his team. I think every team he plays on now, just by the nature of how he plays and how he sort of communicates the game, is the most important piece of any team he's on. Whereas Yeehaw was just kind of like obviously he's not the center of that team in the same way as Eames is, but you know, he was just individually the best this season. If that makes sense. I think you can go either Pappy or Yeehaw. I'm very sorry, Eames.
It's alright.
Can you win this award if you're not a main caller? Is my question, because it seems like you always go
Absolutely.
for like if you're not the centerpiece of the team, if you're not the main caller, if you pluck you out, will the team implode? Like that's kind of what's going through my head. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that everyone at every level, because that's what we need to think about, right? The multiple levels. I think at our level, where we're very involved in the community and we kind of know who's main calling for each team, we have that insight. We can vote like that, but for players that are further down the ladder, you don't really know all that stuff. So I think it's kind of 50-50.
I mean, yeah, Lucas has won player of the season a bunch of seasons where Pappy should have won it, right? I mean, and he's definitely not a main caller, right? Like multiple seasons. He's just kind of done what he's been told to, but individually he's been the best player as a result, right?
I mean,
I think-
this is amazing. Yeah. I
Yeah.
also, I don't know. I think it's like weird. There's not another player from Fortos here. I don't think it's just me that should be there, but you know, I'm definitely biased towards my
who else
teammates.
should
But
be in there?
I mean, Tomas was amazing in the grand final. Neo was amazing in the grand final. Like the whole team played really well. You could put anyone, honestly. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm not really sure. I mean, yeah, I guess it depends if you value main cooling, but
Yeah. All right. So Sodium, next
think-
year you're gonna need to put all of Fortos in this
Yeah.
category.
I got that, yeah.
Please.
That's the takeaway, really. Okay.
I think it depends. Yeah, it also depends like what you care. Like Yeehaw had an insane upper bracket final, and I think so did Eames. But then like I think in grand final like Toe made loads of plays. Lucas did some really nice things. So did Neo. So did So I mean, it depends what you go off.
Yeah.
What I would
Okay.
say is, well, I guess going back to what I said earlier, but if you're going to base it off, obviously Yeehaw wasn't main calling, but if you're going to base it off like individual performance, then he did have lots of huge individual performances over the season. But once again, you know, he had a bit of a muted final because, well, for reasons. But yeah, so I would say it should probably be me or Pappy, to be honest. But whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Sodium.
All right. Coming in third for player of the season is Eames,
It's just unfair. Poor Eames.
Okay.
followed by Yeehaw and Pappy taking home Player of the Season.
Wow, I
Congratulations.
won one,
The
Pog.
England
four toast
wins.
Congrats.
meta.
The 4 toast
Yeah,
circle has been completed.
Noticing a trend here. Wow, it's close.
Close,
Jesus.
yeah.
Wow.
I think
Eames
was
has been done
deserved
dirty again.
Yeah, you've done dirty there, honestly, Eames. I think you really just shone this season, honestly, and I can't wait to see what you do next season. Have you got any roster leaks for next season, Eames? Who have you got?
Oh yeah, I mean it's out already. So well, as I mentioned, so we have Joe and AZN. Joe on Roma, AZN Pocket. Amma has come back, but is playing Flank Scout, not Pocket Scout, and we have Azunis on Med. So
Wow.
that's the team.
Okay.
You have Amarok on Flank Scout and Joe on Roma?
Yep.
Why don't you have Amarok Pocket, Thingy on Roma, and Joe on Flank Scout?
Amma doesn't want to play Pocket.
Weird champ.
He doesn't.
Weird
like,
Weird
champ.
he hates the soldier class.
Oh, really? Fair enough.
Yep.
No, that sounds like a really strong team. And the other top team that's playing next season, I think, is Witness Gaming, which is the old Faint roster plus Thomas on Scout. So it'll be interesting to see how you guys do against them.
Yep. Muller and Med.
Yeah, and is there any other big teams playing?
Yeah, it's the Jeevan team, which is Jeevan, Nubby, Dagger, Seeds, and
Who are the
Ixie.
scouts? Ixie, okay.
And
Ixie Mist, is it?
Ixie and Capo, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because Jeevan and Cape go hand in hand, pretty much.
Okay, so it's reform of Global Clan plus
Yeah.
Nubby. Yeah, okay. No,
Pappy,
that team
are
will
you
also be
playing
very
next
good.
season, Pappy? What?
I will not be. No, I have
You're
a
not?
job and
Oh,
I have no time. But
unfortunate.
maybe I will play again at some point. So
Watching from the sidelines.
yeah, I would like to get 5 wins for Prem, but we'll see if that happens. Maybe, maybe not.
Alright, I think we'll throw it to a few shout-outs now and round this thing out. Beta, any shout-outs, sir?
Yeah, I have one important stat that I want you guys to check out. And who do you think is the scout that died the least this season? It surprised me very much. It's not who you expect. I'll give you a hint. Any guesses?
Yeehaw.
Not correct. No, not Yeehaw.
Damn.
I think Yeehaw died quite a lot just because he is the flank scout, but it's actually Mist who died the least.
Oh no, that
of
makes
any-
sense. That's very logical.
Yeah,
Seeds
he
had
also
no
has-
deaths. Seeds had the least deaths, and so did Mist. But
Yeah, they'd have together
That's-
all the time.
He also had
Yeah.
the fewest kills of any scout.
I can see a problem with that. Maybe they're just not showing up to fights. But
Says the soldier
don't
with the
know.
fewest deaths as well, you know.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that's true. I probably took the most damage though. I don't know the stats, but I imagine I took the most damage. So
I don't feel like looking it up. And then Daga had the fewest death on Demoman with about 12, but not like by a huge margin. But that's all I have. I will probably not have as much time next season to do things, also because of jobs where we like work 12 hours a day or something dumb. So gonna be a struggle for me to be around, but I'll be around whenever I can. And I'm just looking forward to another great season.
Alright, Wan, shout-outs from you.
Shoutouts to Ignis. I was supposed to be in Frankfurt right now, and we were supposed to go to the zoo tomorrow, but my doctor told me I'm not allowed to travel. So we're not going to the zoo tomorrow. I'm very sorry, Ignis.
Oh.
Sad.
Eames, any shout-outs from you, sir?
Shout out to my team. Shout out to my new team, I suppose. Shout out to everyone for doing this. Shout out to Beta for making my legacy video. Appreciate it. And yeah, that's it.
Pappy, shout-outs to you.
Shout out to everyone that played this season. It's actually really fun and competitive as well, I should say. And good luck to all the teams playing next season. It's going to be a pretty cool season, I think. Like, huge prize pool is going to be really hyped. There's big name players playing, Thomas Vector Scout, Ehor's playing. You have Aura's team. It's going to be a really good season, so people should be hyped up for that. Nubby's back as well. Seeds, really big name
Yak is
players.
playing.
Yak, yeah, Tehran.
Hell yeah. Now I'm ready.
But yeah, no, and then just shout outs to my team. It was really fun, like new challenges, and I'm really happy to have played with Neo and Credu and and then all the regulars I normally play with. Shout out to Gink and everyone in Nanya.
Sodium, shouts from you.
Yeah, just the admin team, everyone done production, casters, everyone who played. We wouldn't be here without any of the players and everyone who still puts time in this game after all this time. So shout out to all of you.
Yeah, shout out to you guys this evening for joining me on the award show, and you guys in chat for bearing with us, all 101 of you people out there. And shouts to Art Rhythm, of course, for doing the thankless job that is production and having to fight Enigma for the rights to stream on Team Fortress TV and maybe having to explain who you were to him. So thank you for that. Also, shouts to the Dutchies. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this award show, and we will see you in season 40. It should be a bit of a banger. See you then, gents.